welcome back to the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel, where of course we're giving you all the latest news, views and opinions on all things Albion. Back again today with another match preview for you, chatting today about the fixture between West Bromwich Albion and Blackpool, which kicks off at 8:15 on Tuesday night. Another big game away from home again. We're not looking forward to another away from home fixture, having lost 4 on the bounce previously before this Blackpool game. Obviously looking forward to it though, hoping that we can bounce back from a 1-0 defeat against Huddersfield at the weekend. But yeah, it's at Bloomfield Road, a place that we don't have a fantastic record at. We haven't won there since 2010, but looking forward to hopefully bouncing back from a loss against Huddersfield. But before we get into this match preview, where of course we'll be taking you through all of the opposition report, what can we expect from them, a predicted lineup and all that jazz. There'll be plenty of that coming up as well, and also, of course, our predicted lineups and ones to watch as well in there too. But make sure you're subscribing to the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel for more content like this. We're having for 1,000 subscribers, so be sure to get involved and click subscribe if you enjoyed. Drop your score predictions down below. I'll be giving mine later on in this video. But let's get straight into this match preview for the West Brom Blackpool game. Straight into this match preview. Let's get cracking. Of course, a big fixture between West Bromwich Albion and Blackpool coming up, and one that we're hoping to bounce back from a really disappointing 1-0 defeat against Huddersfield away on Saturday. Of course, you can hear all my reaction and also Ronan from WBA Report's reaction to that game in this evening's podcast episode. It'll be out at 5 o'clock on Monday. Can't quite work out when this is going to be out, but it'll be out, or it may be out later on in the day that you're watching this. But Monday at 5 o'clock, Monday the 22nd of November. So make sure you're checking that out when that's out. It's available on YouTube and also podcast platforms. So for all the full reaction to that, or if you want to hear my instant match reaction, make sure you go and check out our YouTube channel for that as well. There'll be cards popping up in the corner for that later on in this episode. So yeah, let's get straight on with Blackpool. Let's have a little look at what we can expect from the Seasiders heading into this fixture. Of course, a bit of a mixed run of form so far this season, but in a very good position in terms of their squad strength. They're currently sat 10th in the league after 18 games played, with 7 wins, 5 draws and 6 losses. After picking up 26 points, which leaves them, of course, 10th in the league, which is a really good position for where they are. A lot of teams having them, a lot of pundits, a lot of journalists having them down to actually finish bottom of the table. So for me, this is a fantastic achievement currently from the Seasiders, and they're doing really well so far in the EFL Championship. Over the last few games, been a bit of mixed form. 2 draws and a loss over the past 3 games, but then their last win coming against Sheffield United at the end of October, which was part of a run of, I think it was 3 straight league wins, which was really good for them. Wins against Blackpool, wins against Reading, Preston and Sheffield United, of course, as well in there. But they've won games. Let's be fair. They've won games and they have scored goals in the games that they've won. And they've really, once they've started winning the game, they've really piled on the pressure. Of course, they beat Fulham earlier on in the season, which was a big headlining win for them. And currently sat 10th in the table, which is a really good position for Blackpool. Let's be fair, that they've done really well so far to be in that position, and deservedly so, under Neil Critchley, who's done a really good job, the former Liverpool youth team manager as well. So yeah, they've done a really good job so far this season. And of course, we'll be getting into all of their predicted lineups and stuff. But who can we kind of expect to be pulling the strings in terms of a goals or assisting sort of regime? We've got Jerry Yates up front, who's been scoring some goals so far for them. 5 goals so far for him, along with Shane Lavery, who's also scored 5 goals so far for the Pool. Keshi Anderson as well, doing a decent job in that creative midfield role, scoring 3 goals and getting 2 assists. He's the top assister so far in the Blackpool side. But yeah, Jerry Yates and Shane Lavery providing a little bit of a strike partnership going on throughout games, and obviously Shane Lavery also coming off the bench at times to really put teams to the sword and obviously bag those goals. In terms of their average ratings, Keshi Anderson is top, along with Marvin Ekpieta, who is currently playing in the centre back role for them and doing really well as well. Richard Keogh, of course, signed off the back of spells at Huddersfield and Derby, and doing a decent job at centre back for them as well. And they're doing really well. Let's face it, they're doing some really good stuff and really overachieving with the squad that I think they've got at the moment. In terms of their stats and in terms of sort of a bit of more of an in-depth look at how they play and how they've been getting on in the league so far, Blackpool currently sitting 15th in goals scored with 20. As I said, in the games that they have won, they've really piled on the pressure and really started to win the games. However, in games that they've lost, it's been a bit of a struggle to kind of hit the back of the net and hit the ground running in those particular games. In terms of their aerials won, they're mid-table with that one. It's 12th place for them with 19.8 aerials won per game. A reminder that West Brom are third in that table with 31.2 aerials won per 90. In terms of possession, I feel like they're not too great in that possession area. They're currently 20th in this table with 45.4% possession on average through the games of the Championship. 9th in the league for tackles per game with 15.2. And then, of course, in terms of goals conceded, they're not that great, but they're not bad either. They're currently doing okay with those, with only a minimal amount of goals conceded so far in the Championship with 21. Obviously, sporting a -1 goal difference, which is strange for a team just outside the playoffs, of course. But they're doing well. They're doing a fine job in terms of their creation and in terms of scoring some goals, considering a lot of Championship pundits and journalists had them down to not really score any goals this season. So they're certainly doing that, and they're really bringing in the bacon with in terms of league position. I'm really pleased with the way that they've worked and the way that they've come about the game. So yeah, I think Albion are doing really well, and I think they're certainly bringing in the results under Neil Critchley, and they certainly will provide a stern opposition for a game that I don't think we've won it in quite a while. I think 2010 was the last time that we won away at Blackpool, which was in the Championship in the 9-10 season. So, yeah, not got a great record away at Blackpool. Obviously, a infamous game was when we had 2 red cards during that game, one for Gonzalo Yara and one for Pablo Ibanez as well. So yeah, that's a bit of an infamous game for us, where we lost 2-1 to Ian Holloway's Blackpool at the time, and then obviously last season losing in the FA Cup on penalties for under Big Sam, which was just an appalling game, and I wish never to relive that fixture at all. That was absolutely terrible, and obviously losing on penalties in that particular game. So yeah, rubbish. But yeah, in terms of this game and in terms of what we can expect from a lineup from Blackpool, they've been pretty consistent with their team so far this season. But this is what I sort of kind of expect them to go with in terms of a team and in terms of a predicted lineup. Obviously, I'm not that knowledgeable on Blackpool, so let me know if you think I've got anything completely not spot on. But in terms of goalkeeper, I've gone for Colin Maxwell. We'll go for the lad Jordan Lawrence Gabriel at right back. Go for Marvin Ekpieta at centre back alongside Richard Keogh, and then of course Luke Garbutt at left back. Josh Bowler at right midfield in this 4-4-2 formation, along with Ryan Wintle, who's in the centre midfield position alongside Kenneth Dougal, and then Keshi Anderson on the left-hand side of the midfield, along with Jerry Yates, and possibly even Gary Medine up front with him there. I feel like he's a player that could possibly add some value in up front as a real target man. Played, of course, in that game where we lost. But that's kind of what I expect from Blackpool and how I expect them to set up against us. Obviously going to be a really tricky fixture. In terms of a ones to watch, it's got to be Keshi Anderson for the goals and assists that he's been putting in so far this season. Got to go for him, and got to think that he's going to be providing all of the creative threat for Blackpool as they try to sort of march their way up the pitch, and he'll obviously be playing it in that left midfield position. So that's kind of what we expect from Blackpool, some good functional football, and obviously if they can nick a goal, they've got a fairly sturdy defence to try and combat it. But for Albion, it's trying to bounce back really from that disappointing defeat against Huddersfield. We've been absolutely poor. We've been poor of late, and obviously if you want to hear my instant match reaction against Huddersfield, that was pretty honest, if I have to make it out that way. But here's what I kind of expect us to go for in terms of a predicted lineup. So in goal, I'm going to go for Sam Johnston with a back three of Cedric Kipre, Carl Bartley, and Matt Clark. This is kind of what I think is going to happen, and then also what I play within the rounds of possibilities. If I had my way, I'd probably pick a different lineup, to be quite honest. But that's definitely not going to happen in any way, shape or form. Matt Clark across the back with Carl Bartley and Cedric Kipre. I'm going to go for Dana Furlong at right wing back, Connor Townsend at left wing back with Mowat and Malumbi in the centre of midfield. Then I'm going to go for Dean Garner. I'm going to go for Robinson and Grant as the front three. Might work, maybe not, but you know, none of the front three options have been very good so far this season. And my ones to watch for Albion, it's going to be Alex Mowat. I think it's about time he got back into some form after coming back from injury. I think that he can certainly do a job in that midfield pairing alongside Jason Malumbi, but certainly going to be a difficult game for Albion. Blackpool will provide a stern test, and I'm hoping to see a bit of a reaction from Albion after a really, really poor defeat against Huddersfield. I thought that was possibly the worst game of the season, in my opinion. But yeah, be sure to check out the podcast on that game and also my instant match reaction, which was recorded literally minutes after the final whistle. It's always a dangerous game. But yeah, be sure to subscribe to the Baggies Podcast YouTube channel if you've enjoyed this preview. I'll see you in the next one for another video. I'll be going to the under-23s game on Monday night, so hopefully a vlog or something coming from that game, a bit of content for you guys. But that's to bring me to the end of this video. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.